Hello, everybody, and welcome to Historian, White Fright, Queer Fear, The Losers Club, Historian! My name is Kai, and I like to watch scary movies. I would like to preface this by saying I clearly have not watched all the horror movies that have come out in 2022. I even still have some on my to-watch list. The House, You Won't Be Alone, Flux Gourmet, No Exit, Incantation, The Northman, yes, I'm counting it, it's Eggers, Wendell and Wild, which I have yet to finish, Significant Other for the Micah Monroe of it all, since I'm not sure I'd like watch her, and Skinamarink, though I'm pretty sure that just recently came out in theaters for wide release. One I'm sitting on the fence on is Terrifier 2. I did not like the first one, even with its gore, as it felt pretty sexist and mean-spirited, but clearly there are more— Chucky! Maybe this is the real reason why I'm not becoming a YouTuber. I have a cat. Okay. Clearly, there are more 2022 horror movies that are not on my to-watch list. You can tell me in the comments why I should or shouldn't add some of those to the list. I will say ahead of time that I'm not really big into thrillers, so to take that into account. Oh, and for those of you who actually care about my my favorite non-horror movie of 2022, it is Chuck! And for those of you who actually care about my favorite non-horror movie of 2022, it is without a doubt Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie could have been a horror movie with just how it felt specifically targeted to me. My cat is being annoying, but without further ado, thank you for watching my first ever video here, and here's my ranking of all the horror content I've watched in the year of 2022. At number 19, we have Bones and All. No doubt this is the biggest FOMO experience I've had in 2022. I am honestly looking for any reason not to hate Timothy Chalamet. Like, do I have any genuine reason for my dislike of him? Not really. I think his acting is suboptimal at best, and I can't help but think of those tweets where they say he looks like a Victorian shoe. The fact that this was created by Call Me By Your Pedophilia doesn't help at all, nor does the fact that these two have barely any chemistry, platonic or otherwise. This wasn't the charming, coming-of-age Bonnie Eats Clyde narrative I was looking for, not to mention the weird sexual undertones of this entire movie. In my opinion, a great horror villain should not be memorable for the sole factor that he's an invasive creep. Some may say that is to the credit of this movie, but if I wanted to be uncomfortable around men, I would just go outside. I will say the saving graces of this movie are the beautiful gore, the cinnamon topography, which I still think is overrated, but I'd be remiss not to mention it, and of course our two-time escape room champion Taylor Russell. Despite how I feel about this movie, I'm really glad that there were some people who could enjoy it. I'm just not one of them. I'm sorry for all the moving around that there's going to be, because yes, I don't have a recording space, yes, I'm using this on my iPhone, and yes, this is my bedroom. Okay, number 18. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Boy, was that hard to say without the article. I won't be the first or the last person to say this, but who the hell was asking for this? The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the scariest films ever made. The fact that it's had several reboots and lacks any sort of nuance past the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 should be a pretty clear indicator that this franchise was dead in the proverbial slaughterhouse. Sometimes, guys, we just don't need franchises. Not to mention Leatherface in this movie was a 70-year-old possibly teleporting immortal being. Favors that this movie has is its short runtime, the dynamic kills and viscera, and little Leatherface popping up from the sunflowers. I actually think that shot could be like the modern day version of the door slamming with how many people have cited it, though I really enjoyed the callback with Dante. Oh! Why does he do that? Oh! Some view this as dumb fun, and I'm glad they liked it. This just felt too blatant a cash grab for me to even enjoy it. Coming in at number 17, Glorious. As we all know, 2022 has been a great year for horror. Shudder originals are included. I love you, Shudder. Please sponsor me, Shudder. I would love nothing more. The first of a few incredible first-time femme directors here, Rebecca McKendry, offers a great premise. A Lovecraftian blob and a man are trapped in a rest stop bathroom glory hole situation. The summary, I will admit, though, lives up to more than the conclusion of the story. I actually think the scale of this could have been better if we weren't bashed over the head with flashback after flashback post-blob reveal, as the shots and the dialogue were almost always the same and just took away from the tension. I'm a big fan of one-setting horror movies, and without the random shots of a backyard in the protag's living room, I think it... Can you not? I shouldn't have named him after this guy. He can be fucking annoying. Like, that was on me. Do you want to say hello to the camera at least, or do you just want to be an asshole about it? Jackie? Okay, you're gonna be an asshole about it. Get out of my room! Get out! Please. I have a YouTube career! Don't you understand? God! I'm a big fan of one-setting horror movies, and without the random shots of a backyard in the protag's living room, I think I could have been more immersed. The last plot twist, if you could call it that, felt a bit too on the nose for me to enjoy, and a bit condescending, as if we couldn't predict the morality of the monsters that we're trapped with. However, this movie made me want to take several scalding hot showers while watching it, so credit to grossing me out just as viscerally as the first time I saw the bathroom from Saw. This probably is the first movie on this list that I would actually watch again, though I'm definitely not intending to return to it anytime soon. Okay, one of two movies billed under 2021 but had a wide release in 2022 was The Black Phone. On paper, this should have appealed to me personally. My favorite horror movie of all time is It Chapter 1, 2017. So naturally, the kid in a suburban town that has a secret premise isn't exactly overdone for me, though maybe this is the start of that steady decline in my appreciation for Kingian coming-of-age stories. My main complaint with this movie is that it's been done before and been done better. There is no disrespect to the actors in this film. I felt very compelled and concerned for all the children involved. I wish my hair was half as cool as Bruce Yamada's, my brawn half as strong as Robin Ariano's, my potty mouth half as brash as Gwen Blake's, my final boy energy half as raw as Finney Blake's, not to mention one of my favorite Scream Kings who I'd love to see in more things, James P. Ransone. As mentioned earlier, I adore it and its sequel, It Chapter 2, with Ransone being one of the best and my most favorite castings of that film. One of. Bill Hader and yeah. This movie felt safe. Even when Ethan Hawke himself said he was taking a risk by playing the role of the grabber, I really don't think it was for anybody but maybe his own psyche. This movie felt completely average to me, if not maybe above. And now we've gotten to the movies that I would actually recommend to people to watch, starting with number 15, Slashback. This feature film directorial debut of Nyla Inukshuk, comprised of mostly young native actors you've likely never seen in other films before. This movie's pretty indie, so if you enjoy a small budget and a great location, this one's for you. Though I think the kid actors in The Black Phone edge out these in terms of raw acting just a little bit in terms of their raw acting talent. It was refreshing to see the opposite of the all-male squad of kids. These girls are kick-ass and only sometimes resort to cliches in their personalities, which, you know, you can have that as a treat. My favorite reveal of this movie was probably the party the kids are trying to go to, as it felt like straight out of my own life experiences. Like, imagine fighting aliens all to go to your 13-year-old crush's terrible house party with dead-faced teens who couldn't give less of a fuck about you and whether or not you're alien food. I did some Googling and I found out this is just the beginning of Inukshuk's horror films, and it's safe to say I'd check out anything from her or these actresses in the future. And at number 14, I have maybe my most controversial take of this entire video, which is saying something. With Barbarian taking this slot, this is the second biggest case of FOMO I had this past year, and I won't lie. The way that you guys laud this movie makes me feel like I almost watched a different one. I'm pretty tired of the spookamookum, long, mommy, saggy titty monster approach, which this capitalizes on. The small favors this movie offers are not dwelling too long on the sexual assault themes, which, like, thank God. And the great performances from Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård, Mr. Pennywise himself. Oh, sorry, Mr. Pennywise itself. I'll link to another movie further up this list. I did like the commentary on how women have to think thrice for every action a man takes. And while they have a conversation about it, it clearly isn't ham-fisted, but more of the thesis for this movie. The switch in timelines was, in my opinion, not actually that shocking of a device to use, nor did I find it particularly ingenious or innovative. While I agree that it would have been cliché to start and end with the storyline of the first half hour of this film, I wish the direction they went down wasn't Barbary Street. Coming in at lucky number 13, 2022 really wanted to go out guns blazing with their Gen Z's millennial humor last year, including Sissy. Sissy has a simple storyline with a mean, lean execution, literally. Sissy revolves around two childhood best friends who lost their contact throughout the years and run into each other randomly at the store, leading one of the girls to invite Cecilia, formerly known as Sissy, to her bachelorette party, or hens, for the Aussies. What follows is a total gore fest, and I mean it. Spaloogy heads and blood and brains throughout the second half. Mwah, 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 car kill, mwah. Though it's not as concise of a social commentary on trauma, social media, and fake friends as I wanted it to be, I still had a damn good time watching ironic character deaths and wondering whether Sissy was ever really a sissy after all. Alright, at number 12, I have the other 2021 build release, and a movie that I wanted more than anything to be higher than where it is, but if I'm being honest, and I am, I cannot say I personally enjoyed it that much. Mad God! Sometimes art is labor and work. This movie felt like work. How could one succinctly describe a mad god, a terrible fever dream of pus, genitals, secretion, and depravity? But that would be overlooking the grotesque gorgeousness this film has to offer, along with the rich story and behind-the-life scenes of Phil Tippett, the incredible man who brought us this stop-motion masterpiece, and works appear in movies as famed as the original Star Wars trilogy and Jurassic Park. Believing that there was no future to stop motion, Tippett all but shelved his magnum opus, but I am glad him and his crew were finally able to complete and present us with this waking nightmare. I enjoyed what I could parse of its visuals and metaphors, and believe me, and this film is rich with them. But there's only so much I can credit this movie, while admitting I just didn't have the best time watching it, and though it's insanely memorable and beautiful, I don't see a lot of rewatchability. That's generally what I look for in films. While this is not my cup of tea, I think everybody should at least try and watch it, if only to marvel at the dedication of one man and a vision he's had for over 50 years. Holy fuck! I can't imagine doing anything for 50 years. Not even breathing. We're almost in the top 10, but before we get there, we have to talk about Smile! Save for the Maxine trilogy Ty West has brought us, Smile was definitely the most shocking release to me this year, but for very different reasons. Smile honestly looks like the cheesy B-movie we've all seen before, Truth or Dare, and all its stupid Snapchat selfie rip-offs of the mid-2010s. But the viral marketing for this film, and it being the talk of the town in the horror community, spurred me to go watch it in the theater, and boy am I glad that I did. Though this may turn some viewers away, I really love a great jump scare, and this movie has several, not to mention the very last version of the monster design. Again, not a big fan of the spooky ladies, but I can deal. Smile is a movie that is clearly inspired and has elements that have been done before, but honestly, I'm okay with it. It's doing it in a new way. I felt compelled by Sosie Bacon as Dr. Rose, and especially for Laura, whose fear in the first scene this whole movie rides on. The color theory and the attention to detail with tiny smiley faces in the movie show the effort and passion of a long-time published director, but this is Parker Finn's theatrical debut? Also, how does it feel, Miss Bacon, to be in the better horror movie of the year compared to your dad? And yeah, by the way, I'm probably never going to watch They/Them. Sorry. Alright, we're at number 10. We're breaking into the best of the best. My number 10 is Chucky Season 2. Oh wait, did I not mention that I'm including 2 pieces of horror television in here? I'll give you a hint. It's an underrated Netflix show. Keyword underrated. Clearly now, not Stranger Things, though Vecna and my fellow freak Eddie Munson deserve their own shout out.
Hello, update. I don't know why I acknowledged that Stranger Things came out last year and didn't rank it, but I'll just do it now. Hot take, Stranger Things Season 4 is the best version of Stranger Things since the first season. However, kind of shat the bed. And I'm also, like, biased because I think Vecna's a lot like Freddy, and I love Freddy, and Freddy's scary as fuck. Like, he just manifests whatever your terrifying dreams are. But, like, I can't fully get behind Stranger Things Season 4. I don't know what it is, particularly, or what it's missing. It just really didn't do it for me. So I'm assuming that in my obligatory list that I'm making, just let me consult my notes. Yes, I guess. I mean, like, while I'm vamping here, like, Joe Keery, like, your music is great. So, sorry for putting you down this low. Yeah, oops, it's low. And also, again, I love my freak, Eddie Munson. Ooh, it's coming in between Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Glorious. Too low? Not low enough? I'm being honest. You can't blame me. I'm being so fucking honest. Okay, bye.
Chucky Season 2. As much as I liked it, and I did, especially the first 5 episodes, it's honestly falling on the backside of my Chucky rankings, which, let me know if you want to hear them. I promise they are very honest and very controversial. Chucky Season 1 was a masterpiece to me. I adore this franchise more than any other. I named my cat after him. So it's safe to say that I had pretty high expectations for the series' second season. I love the kids. I want to protect them with everything in me, while also cheering on the sidelines for Chucky and Tiffany when they're not listening. Seeing Gigi, Glenn, and Glenda was a dream come true. If not, me being just a little bit slightly bitter that I wasn't cast as them, you know, it's fine. But I'm half Japanese. I could be made in Japan. Plus, J-Till's Asian. Don't forget. How the hell is she gonna have a ginger natural baby? But ultimately, you know, both that, that very serious critique, and just the last episodes, ultimately, I think the season finale just spun its wheels. I enjoyed all the new characters that were meant to be enjoyable. I enjoyed the campier episodes who got that straight feeling out of straight out of a soap opera. I, a former private school delinquent, enjoyed the setting. The Black Plaid brings back so many repressed memories, but ultimately Don Mancini has shot for the stars and made it farther than that before. There's a lot of promise in this series. There always will be. I will always consume anything Mancini has to give us with our little murder doll and company. But I just think that the storyline sometimes got jumbled along the way throughout its execution. I spent the entire finale wondering, didn't we do this already? Why am I here? The story got wrapped up in a beautiful little tiny murder bow. But, with all of that being said, I will be tuning into season 3, baby! Mancini, if you see this, you know what to talk, you know who to talk to, okay? Actually, if anyone sees this, you can cast me in their horror movie. I would really love that. I really would. Please. Please. Okay, alright. I can hear you all chanting from outside of my door with your pitchforks, and where's our newest favorite scream queen, Jenna Ortega? spreading COVID on the set of Wednesday. Not to worry. Here she debuts. 5 Cream, or Scream 22 to the uninitiated, was a blast and is my number 9 pick. Like to Chucky, Scream is a great franchise. I have a poster over there that you can't see. I shouldn't have pointed out the poster because I lost my way in the script. Like to Chucky, Scream is a great franchise. In my opinion, it's probably my 3rd favorite, just below the Nightmare franchise. While I almost never return to any of the middle of the franchise, I still think that they're good, though it's this requel that may rise above the rest. Ask for a Scream ranking. Do it. Upping the gore and bringing this movie into the 2020s, I'm so excited to see where Radio Silence takes us, though I'm obviously sad that Sydney won't be returning probably anytime soon. I understand Neve Campbell's reasons for it, and I'm glad she's standing up for her unbolstered talent. I think that this conclusion with Sydney was necessary, and I'm glad we got to see her kick Ghostface's ass one more time. When this movie came out in January, I genuinely thought this would be at the very least in the top 3 of my list, and I really liked this movie, so it just shows that this year was incredible with how low this ended up. I saw it in an empty theater with one of my best friends where we were able to Randy Meeks it up and just scream at the screen. So that might have a little bit of a role in playing of me enjoying this movie so much. But I still think it holds up. Though I'm sad about the main character death. I'm not going to mention. I'm going to wait still another year for the spoilers, but I miss them so dearly already. And me not exactly being in love with Samantha Carpenter's, character and arc, I'm still excited to see where this new cast takes us. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for more of Ortega and Jasmine Savoy Brown. Oh my god, I'm in love with her. And Mason Gooding, I'm in love with him too. Wait, can we talk about how a small subgenre of, already the subgenre of Final Boys is, fun male actors that were so charismatic that the director didn't kill off their characters? It's not common. It's very, I just want that in my life. I would love to get murdered on screen, don't get me wrong, but keep me around as well. Pretty fun. I also, I just enjoyed the ghost faces and the first reveal being the fun 3rd act twist. That was abrupt. I had fun. I enjoyed most of the performances in this movie, and I cannot wait to see what New York can do to our Woodsboro's shotgun. Boom. Yeah. Ghostface, bitch. What's your favorite scary? Number 8 is a movie that I think a lot of you guys slept on. Fresh. This indeed was a fresh take on the genre, with the first 30 minutes being a romance film, quickly devolving into its distastefulness. I loved the slick cinnamon topography, the blurry camera focuses, and the sharp aesthetic of the film. I adored the lead performances from Daisy Edgar Jones, Sebastian Stan, Jojo T. Gibbs, and my personal favorite, Andrea Bang of Kim's Convenience fame. I can't believe you canceled that. I know why we did it, but it still fucking sucks. Also, it was really nice to see Dio Okeniyi. How are you doing post-Hunger Games? Guys, that was fresh. Anyways, this is yet another femme directorial debut from Mimi Cave this time, who has created music videos before, but not yet a feature-length film. This narrow focus on being a femme-presenting or AFAB individual in this world really worked for me, where I think that the broader scope I've heard about from, men wouldn't. The insidiousness of the antagonists of this film made me want to never date or leave the house again, which I already kind of wanted to do, but now I just feel reassured and vindicated in that fact. Moral of the story and takeaway from me: delete Tinder and stop talking to men. And my number 7 comes with a bit of a confession. I am pretty new to the horror genre, you guys. I know. And by that, I mean, I probably started to regularly consume horror content about, 4 years ago? 5. But since then, it's become my ultimate favorite genre and think piece. My family and I were never really film people, per se. Sure, we'd go to the cinema every now and then, and for the last and then for the latest Disney movie, but our tastes never really lined up. Both of my parents are capital SC scaredy cats, and I used to be too before I was thoroughly desensitized. Part of my desensitization journey was none other than Orphan, my first ever horror movie, which came out in 2009, but I definitely didn't watch until like at least 2014. I'm sure you guys are already pissing your pants and writing angry comments about Orphan First Kill made it up this high on my list, if you know, anybody's actually watching this video, that is. And I would agree to some extent. Nobody needed an Orphan prequel. And I normally find prequels redundant in and of itself. Like, who needs something that we already know about? But this movie had no damn right being so fucking enjoyable. I love camp, you guys. As a gay person, I would be shanked and spanked with a rainbow flogger if I didn't. From the Vaseline on the camera to the gigantic go-go boots the actors had to wear so Isabella Fuhrman looked teensy tiny, and the practical effects used to make Esther look age appropriate, I ate this shit up. And if you've seen Orphan and are like, we get the twist, what's the point of the movie? There's another twist, so watch it. Just watch it. I can't wait to rewatch this movie and know all the subtleties of the performances, and just everybody did a killer job, and for once, I might actually want a franchise of this villainess. Shame on me. I love her. Esther Clamor. I'm clamoring for her. I'm clamoring for Esther. I'm getting like really excited and nervous about like this upper echelon of my list. But here, number 6, we have Bodies. Probably the movie I laughed the most at upon first and subsequent watches. So while this movie is fully targeted and making a commentary about my age range, I never found it offensive. So those of you that did, I mean, like, that's valid, but chill. It's just alarmingly true. Like I mentioned it before, I went to a Catholic private school, so like the vapid, eccentric, wealthy young adults in this movie remind me so starkly of people I used to go to school with, like actual war flashbacks. But because of that, I had an even greater time, not to mention I'm a really big fan of murder mysteries. While it wasn't the primary concern of this movie as much as it was a character study, my one encouragement that definitely would have got this movie like 5 out of 5 stars for me, of this director and like the film pursuing, is like the gore. I know I'm a gore hound, but you really could have pushed it. There were a few kills where I found myself going like, are they actually dead or are they just passed out and like pretending? But they were dead, so just saying, make that a bit more clear maybe. I also do find it funny how superficially similar this is to Sissy, and how they both came out this year, but this is just like the better executed version of that movie. Not to, you know, pit them against each other. I like them both respectively. I empathized with B being a fish out of water and laughed at the horrendous caricatures of super rich kids provided earnestly and straight by the rest of the cast. There aren't many endings that haven't been done before, and to my knowledge, the conclusion was fucking original. Bodies was directed by Helena Ryan, a Dutch actress who I hope double dips and stays in the director's chair. Sorry, triple dips. Because of Bodies, specifically with a horror application. Also, I can't be the only one who would love to be in that mansion slap happy plan of Bodies. Sorry, I'm making fun of the trailer guy, but it's really fun to say, and I just keep going, Bodies. Bodies. Body. Why didn't they play Body by Megan Thee Stallion in Bodies? What the fuck? What an oversight! Though, some could read this movie as meaning 10. Get it? Roman numerals. X is coming in at number 5. I was so fucking pleasantly surprised by this take on the schlocky 70s, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of slasher, and the empathy with which it provided. People who say this movie is just like every other slasher are clearly not familiar with the subgenre, and as the slasher subgenre is one of my favorites, I feel very comfortable stating that it stands out from the rest. The killers in this are something we've seen a few times before, but this dexterously and delicately tackles the subject of aging and physical presentation. Following sex workers or those in the porn industry is typically cashed in for an insensitive jab at the real and valid line of work, but the tone from Ty West never judges them for doing it. I enjoyed the cuts and the transitions, the cock wipe, the way it was shot, and how hauntingly beautiful the soundtrack was, combining, actual singing with moaning from the actors. What the hell? Mia Goth was just a fucking powerhouse this year. Oh my god, especially taking on the double duty character load. It just works. I didn't even notice until I got out of the theater that it was the same fucking person. The supporting performances I want to highlight in particular are Scott Mescudi, Mr. Day and Night, Kid Cudi himself, at his most charming, and that is saying a lot. That man. And Brittany Snow, breaking out of whatever roles she's usually cast in. Barden Bella, she is no longer. This movie was sensual and sleek and left us salivating for more, and I truly think that the best was yet to come. Alright, call me a traditionalist, but I think we have so many places we can go with our original universal monsters. I'm including the non-Haitian zombie in this, as it's been expanded on from Frankenstein and Night of the Living Dead and a million more zombie movies since. But All of Us Are Dead brings us something new. I personally adore fast zombies, think Train to Busan, which these characters in universe know about. We follow a very likable cast of kids who get locked in their high school as a zombie virus starts to spread and mutate. I enjoyed the slow burn storyline of kids without the main interest of them being romancing each other, though I did find most of the relationships in the show moving and realistic, which is exactly what you get from a great K-drama. Introducing Hambies to the genre tropes was not a feature I've encountered before, but I really can't wait to get more of. And though I'm not sure of where season 2 of All of Us Are Dead can go, with the virus more or less being eradicated with brutal conclusion and deaths of many of our main characters, I am plenty excited to watch the next season. The special and practical effects of this series plus some stellar physical zombie acting made me squirm at times, though I couldn't get enough of it. It is rare. It is so exceedingly rare for a TV show to catch my attention. I don't have a long span to work with, but I binged this and then I watched it again like less than a month later and regularly recommend it and sit down to watch it with friends who want a good plot with their scares. Make sure you don't sleep on those January releases, y'all. If I don't see everybody in the fucking theater for Infinity Pool, then I'm gonna be really disappointed. Stop putting your shit movies in January. They're all wonderful. Alright, surprising me and maybe some of my viewers watching this is Pearl in our bronze place of all of the horror media of 2022. Rarely does a second movie in a franchise, let alone a prequel, take precedent over the original, but as we've seen by my opinions of Orphan First Kill, I'm willing to eat my words. This Technicolor character study was thrilling from beginning to end. The richness and expansion and motive behind Pearl's character in X makes this a perfect duology while we wait for Max Xxine. How are we pronouncing it? Max Xxine? Maxine. Okay. Like to Maxine in X, Pearl just has that X factor. There are moments when you want to look away from the bright viciousness of this movie, but alike to the never-ending shot that focuses on Mia Goth's terrifying smile and nearly unblinking, unwavering expression, you just can't look away. This movie didn't need a high body count to be compelling, and I like when stories choose to go down a path that's less traveled. In this case, the 20s, which I think are a really big horror blind spot for, honestly, the genre, and I think it should be expanded on more given its post-war reality. The face acting in this absolutely killed me as a theater stage actor. I don't understand. It's so fascinating. And everybody pitched in to make this movie a modern masterpiece in storytelling. This franchise is so refreshing and surprising, and there's no wonder that A24 struck gold twice with Ty West and Mia Goth co-writing Pearl. And I cannot wait to see what Max Xxine has in store for us. I'm so fucking pumped. Okay, we're getting on up there. For the silver medal, I don't want to hear anything about recency bias because I'm talking about The Menu, featuring a collection of highly capable actors, though our two favorites being Ralph Fiennes, Lord Voldemort, whose name I've been saying wrong the entire time, and Thomason, Anya Taylor-Joy. Anya, I think, instead of Anya. Anya. Though I'm not even close to a foodie, an upper-class investment bro, or a cult member, I found this movie utterly relatable, and it quenched my famished comedic appetite. The way that this movie approached the subject of the service industry and how what once put your sun and moon and all the stars in the sky can end up just being work at the end of the day was truly heartbreaking. Watching this film was a feast on the eyes from the delicate food and the sweeping ocean and land shots. I loved the style of adding courses and describing what was in it. Rip Tyler. Plus, I saw some people complaining about the lack of cannibalism in a food-based horror movie, but I think the fact that they avoided the obvious was very, just refreshing. I know I've said that word like 3 times this video, but that is what this year felt like. It felt very refreshing. Well, I will say that hearing John Leguizamo replacing Daniel Radcliffe made me just a bit sad. I enjoyed his role and the reason why he was there, but come on. Victor Frankenstein and a Voldemort Harry Potter reunion? We were robbed of that without J.K. Rowling's fucking interference. Next time. But again, as silly and dry as I found this movie, it spoke to me so personally. Putting the desire to create art or something meaningful that aids or serves people at the end of the day while needing to benefit financially from public approval. I mean, that's what a lot of us are here for. This movie's themes align beautifully along with my #1 pick, so without further ado, my favorite horror movie of 2022 was Nope! Yeah, this may be an obvious one, but Nope was my favorite horror movie of 2022. I will admit, the first time I walked out of the theater, I was like, wow, that was good. I think Jordan Peele's 3 for 3, but that's definitely my least favorite of his so far. And then I just couldn't get this movie out of my fucking head. I want to do an entire video dedicated to me ranting and raving about all the wonderful people of color in horror, so I'll likely do a full video or podcast walking through this film, but holy shit, this movie was a shower and a grower, if you know what I mean. The monster, the thesis, the creatures, the characters. This movie packs so many punches but remains understated all the way throughout. I don't think a lot of movies tackle exploitation, especially those deemed absent of human morality, animals, aliens, and worst of all, the chubby Asian kid that was bullied his entire life and forced to make a profit off of his tragedies. Can you tell that was me? I wasn't chubby, but I was everything else. I loved this movie. I loved it. I love it. I love it so much. Daniel Kaluuya may be one of the most compelling and my personal favorite actors of all time at this point. And OJ he just captured my heart and my soul with his quiet dedication to his family's livelihood. Obviously, M was like a herald of this performance, and I just would love to hang out with all this cast. They all seem so fun and lively behind the scenes. That's probably what I enjoyed most about this movie that I think you might not get from Get Out and Us. It's the fun. The little moments that made me laugh of OJ slapping the shit out of each other's hands to get ready for taking on JJ. They're like, go, yeah. I think about that all the time. I don't know what they were doing. It cracks me up. Angel yelling about aliens to anybody who will listen. Me too. Them smoking and playing VR just lazily post attack. I just love all of the little things that comprise this movie and that make you want to climb that terrible hill to see what is on top of it all, despite Antlers' advice. Frankly, I don't know what movie lit a spark under my ass quite like this one did in many past years, with its sheer ingenuity and passion alone. This may be the never-ending nightmare that Peele experiences. But fuck if we're not all tuning into the spectacle that he's providing for us. And my ass will be in the theater yesterday for his next project. Also, I heard there was a 5-hour director's cut, so if you wanted to release that as well, I'd really enjoy it. I don't know why I keep talking to Mr. YouTube any of these people are going to ever acknowledge or know of me, but worth a shot. So, now that you've heard my somewhat arbitrary rankings of all of the horror media I consumed that came out of the year 2022, what were your thoughts? Let me know if I missed one of your favorites, any hidden gems you saw, or if you disagree with my rankings in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first ever horror video on YouTube. I plan on making this a more stable part of my life in the future because all of my friends are really tired of hearing me talk about the shit that they don't care about. Let me know what type of Let me know what type of videos you'd like to see in the future. I have some fun ideas planned for us. But most of all, keep creating, keep creeping, and keep caring for each other. Goodbye, friends!